I know. So I'm sure if you read the title, you know what's coming. This is a trend that's been going on around YouTube for a while where people stage the makeup that they did in high school. And you know what? If you look at some old pictures of me from high school, yeah, I had an interesting phase or two. And this channel does have a lot of nostalgia goggles going on, so why not? Let's go ahead and recreate what Rachel used to do in high school. It's gonna be a hot mess. Oh, let's get started. Also, Berlioz is hanging out over here.
What you doing there, Bear? Huh? What you doing? You wanna play with makeup too?
So before we get to high school, I would actually like to visit a middle school look first. Just to give you kind of like a little appetizer preview thing. So starting with makeup, I actually did not wear a lot of makeup in middle school or even in high school for that matter. So a lot of this is going to be creating the makeup but also kind of creating the look. So to start off with middle school, I did have one of these things. It's kind of like cover up that you would put under your foundation. And I still use this today, but this was literally all that I wore. And I'm gonna have to get my mirror app up on my phone to make sure that I know what I'm doing. So I would like take this and I would like maybe put a little bit under my eyes, maybe blend it just a little bit. I really only did this to kind of get like the imperfect parts of my face. And I had some acne, so I would maybe cover up like, you know, bits and pieces like this. But it was like white, so it clearly didn't meld too well with my face. Maybe like one or two down here. I would kind of sort of use this as like a very thin foundation. What are you doing, Bear? Nope, he's trying to get these hair ties that I'm gonna use later. Stop it. So once I had the cover up that would literally just cover up the red parts and the imperfect part of my face, I also quite often put glitter on, like eyeshadow. Because, you know, the 90s were trying to die really hard and that was sort of a thing. Only thing is, I used to get this like little jar of like liquidy, sparkly stuff and I couldn't find that, so I had to pick up some like sparkle stuff from Claire's. It tended to be just very clear with lots of sparkles, so I think I'm just gonna go ahead and use this thing right here if you can see it. And I don't know if I used to have like a really weird reaction to this stuff, but I would like dab it on and then it would end up stinging my eyelids. So I'd have to take it off and then just kind of be red for a while. But you can see why I never got a date ever in middle school. So if you can see it, I had a lot of sparkle on my eyelids just like this for a good amount of time when I was in middle school. Now when I was in middle school, I wore a lot of like limited too kind of clothes and Claire's and like a lot of somewhat trendy things, but I was still kind of an awkward kid, so it didn't really fit that well. And like I said, the 90s were trying to die, so I was definitely wearing a couple of like chokers, and I was definitely wearing a choker like this. And actually this kind of choker is coming back, isn't it? I mean, that's why I was able to buy this one at Claire's too, is because I have seen a lot of people, even like at the nightclub that I work at, wearing chokers just like this. But yeah, when I was in middle school, I was definitely trying to rock this kind of thing, and I had a couple other kind of chokers. But now we gotta move on to the hair. So here's the thing also, when I was a kid, and probably up until I was in college, I always split my hair down the middle kind of like this. I don't do that now because, you know, I know better and I think that, you know, a side part looks better, but when I was younger, I thought that this was kind of what made everything even. So on top of sparkles and cover up and weird chokers, I also used to do my hair like Sailor Moon. Yeah, I wasn't obsessed at all. And now, I didn't quite do exactly what Sailor Moon did, which was, you know, the ponytail buns and then like the ponytail hair coming out, but instead, my mother would do something kind of like this. We would take the top parts of my hair, put them up into ponytails first of all, and then we do the other side. So then this way there's actually still a lot of hair like in the back still hanging down. And also, all I gotta say is my mom was a freaking boss when she did this. Like, I was the only kid walking around with buns on my head, and it was a really cool look, I thought, at the time. I thought I looked really awesome. And then what she would do is she would put them into buns like so, but I'm pretty sure she did a way better job than I'm gonna do. There, is it a bun? And then we do the other side. Okay, that's kind of right? And like I said, the other hair was actually a lot shorter at the time, but then it would just kind of hang down like this. And finally, the piece de resistance is when I was in middle school between 6th grade and 8th grade, I did have braces. Now, obviously, it's kind of hard to create braces, but I do have my retainer, so why don't we put that in and see how it looks? Ow! Oh, shit. Oh my god, it's hard to put in. That's what she said. Oh, 12-year-olds shouldn't be saying that. Ha, ha, there it is. It's gonna be hard to get it off. So this was my middle school look. Aren't I sexy? Yeah, like I said, never had a date in middle school. No, wait, I take it back. I did have, like, kind of sort of a date, but he was kind of a loser. Middle school Rachel, everybody! So now for the next look, we're gonna move into kind of like the end of middle school slash the first year or two of high school. Now during this time period, I kind of became a bit of a goth. And by a bit, I mean not really. I went through kind of a phase where I was like, you know what, I don't really give a frick what people think of me. So I'm gonna dress however I want. And I was really inspired by like the Harajuku fashion that was especially big and booming at the time. Seeing all like the goth kids with their black and red. And Hot Topic was really coming out of the woodwork. So I'm now gonna try to recreate my look of what I did to be kind of a sort of wannabe goth. So I got as much of the sparkles off as I could. Now when I got to kind of high school period, I didn't really again wear much makeup, but I did finally discover foundation. I don't remember exactly what kind of foundation I used, but it was something from the drugstore, and I know for a fact that this tone was probably too white for my actual skin tone. But I'm sure that in some places it was too thick, some places it was too thin. Just gonna slap it on there. I'm getting it right. And I know I was doing something wrong because for a long time I would come home at the end of the day and then my face would look like it was dirty. Like something about the makeup just started loosening up on my face, or I don't know what, but it just like didn't match at all and did the exact opposite of what it was supposed to do. So now I've just got a layer of foundation on, no powder and no eyeliner. Actually, I didn't even wear eyeliner till I was in college. I was just trying to cover up the imperfections of my face. I thought that was enough. And funnily enough, when I was in high school, I actually started wearing my hair a lot just like this, with the ponytails already still in there. So I would walk around like this and hair just hanging down. But then I would also do this. I know that I'm not the only wannabe goth kid to have ever done this with their hair. You know, you got all the kids walking around in their Ugg boots and their blonde hair, and I was a brunette and really awkward, and I was like, yeah, this is doing it right. I had like really weird bangs in the front. And I can't really recreate this, but towards the end of freshman year, I then dyed these red. So then it was perfect. I had black and red clothes and I had brunette and red hair. And since I was really inspired by Harajuku slash the goth scene, I of course wore a lot of layers of different things. I can't again really recreate it, but I did wear like a lot of wristbands and bracelets and the sweatband things that they sold. Just like layers and layers and layers, like all up over my arm. But I can show you what I did to my neck. So I used to wear a lot of chokers, like really especially gothic type chokers, like black ones with jewelry on them. And on top of that, quite often again, with the layers, I would often wear a second necklace of some kind. So just to kind of give you an idea, here's another short necklace that I own. So we kind of had like this action going on. Not neat, not tidy, not really well thought out. Keep in mind, I didn't have YouTube when I was growing up, so I didn't have tutorials or anything. I had like, you know, just magazines and books and pictures. Like that's all I could do as far as reference. So I totally thought that this was enough. Okay, and I didn't do this all the time, but this was something I did every once in a while. Like if I was especially feeling gothy, or if I was going to a screening of the Rocky Horror Picture Show, which I actually did quite often when I was in high school. Totally not even either. I kind of think that black lipstick is, at least from my experience, it doesn't do a very good job of staying on. Oh, but wait, I also wore my retainer for a while, so we cannot forget that. Oh, Come and get it, boys. This is a look. This was the early adolescence Rachel, right here, with this kind of sweatshirt and everything. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention it. I wore a lot of like black sweatshirts when I was at that age. And I don't know if I quite sounded like this all the time. I don't think I did, but it's awkward enough, isn't it? Alright, so now for the final high school look, we are gonna have to get a little creative. Now, when I was in high school, yes, this was a thing. Towards the end of high school, I was not just inspired by kind of the goth scene, but I was also really inspired by the really colorful side of Harajuku, as well as Clementine from Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. So I used to color my hair literally every couple of months or every season or whatever it was that she did. I freaking love Kate Winslet and I loved her in that movie. I ate that movie up so much. I used to have red hair, I had orange hair, I had green hair, blue hair, purple hair, and pink hair. And something somewhere in between, I'm sure. But since this is the best that we can work with, here we go, we've got some blue hair. And I did have long hair, I also had short hair kind of like this, so this actually kind of works. So just imagine your little Rachel in her junior year of high school, she's got blue hair going on, and I've now got cover up, I've got foundation, and now I have finally discovered powder. So I've already got the layer of the foundation, which kind of neatly covers up again all the blemishes and the imperfections of my face. And I think when I was in high school, I used to have those like weird square green Clinique powder things where the sponge would be all stinky after a while. I don't think I realized that you had to wash that or that you could. But again, for the sake of what we have, we are just gonna go ahead and put on some powder to, again, just cover up the foundation. I'm sure I did it kind of thick when I was in high school too. And you know, sometimes I used to also cut my own hair. I would just like trim the bangs, and it was, again, really not a pretty look. I was a rebel. I was like, I'm gonna do this by myself, and I want to look how I want to look, and I don't want anybody telling me what to do. But I was also kind of happy. I wasn't like a prick about it. And that's exactly why I was voted most unique in my senior year of high school. I'm not kidding. I was. Me and my friend Tim, they had a girl and a boy for every category. We were both most unique in our senior class. So clearly all this pretentious dressing up left some kind of impression. Also during this time, I do believe that I discovered blush, but it's very possible that I might have exaggerated a little bit. I'm gonna think of it, probably, you know, besides it being a little too heavy, my makeup wasn't too bad. What are you doing? He's playing with my stuff. Stop it. And yes, as you'd imagine, I didn't use any contour, any bronzer, I didn't use anything on my eyebrows, and actually, to be honest with you, I don't even use anything on my eyebrows now. I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I just feel like they're dark and thick enough that I don't need to use anything. But with that said, after doing the makeup, then we would start doing some of the layering. Yep, during this time, I still did some layering. So quite often at that point, I wasn't really wearing really black chokers. Maybe every once in a while I was, but I started wearing more colorful chokers or like stuff that had beads on them or something like this. Yeah, something kind of sort of like this maybe. Just something that would go around my neck. That's all I cared about. But again, also then we have to put on a second necklace because yep, I was still doing that too. And it was most likely a colorful necklace that had nothing to do with anything, but I was like, you know what? I don't care. I don't want anything to match. Funny story, actually, once I got my nails done at a salon, and then my mother was asked by the salon ladies if I was a model because none of my clothes matched. I guess that sort of makes sense. So there, we got a colorful necklace and a quote-unquote choker and the hair and the really heavy blush with the makeup. And also, yes, because I was trying out a couple more makeups, I would probably every once in a while do something like lip gloss. I'd just put some lip gloss, something that I thought looked kind of cool, but again, probably put on a little too heavy. And finally, I don't know where this came from, if I just really liked the weird artsy look that was kind of becoming popular, but I would also kind of wear my glasses a lot at this point. So I swear my glasses have not changed since high school. These are actually my old pair from college. I haven't gotten a new pair since because I almost never wear my glasses. And I only had just plain black, thick rimmed ones when I was in high school, but these do look pretty similar to how they look back then. I'm sure you can kind of probably see the lens flare like this, but yeah, there you go. Here is me from like junior year to senior year. This is how I looked. Very Harajuku slash wannabe artsy loving Wes Anderson movie type of chick. Now let's go down to Seattle and go get some Dick's Burgers and go to Hot Topic and shop and then go home and watch some anime! Wow, I have like literally not done anything like this probably in 10 years. This is really crazy. You know, at a second look, I actually kind of look like an old woman. Okay, this is getting really strange. I'm gonna take all this stuff off now because this is really weird. I don't really want to relive that ever again as myself. I'm okay with just looking at pictures instead. So there you go, everybody. There are my looks from the end of middle school, the beginning of high school, and the end of high school. I hope you guys liked it, and if you also happen to make any videos like this, then please put them in the comments below because I'd really like to see some of your looks too. But if not, then just leave your comments on how you thought I looked and if you think that we would have been friends when we were at that age. To be perfectly honest, the guy I'm dating said that he actually really liked a lot of the looks that I had in high school because he totally would have gone for that when he was at that age too. Aw, that's so nice. Thank you so much for watching, and if you guys like this video, then please give it a big thumbs up. Please be sure to like and share, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you like what you saw here. And as always, please be sure to keep checking back for more Adorkable videos coming out real soon. Bye, Adorkabuddies! Bye! I got gloss all over my hands.